right, and welcome to another episode of Filmmakers P114 Filmmakers Podcast. Best opening so far. This is episode 7, season 2. I'm one of your hosts, Jesse Knight.
Randall Lanier.
Aiden Ford.
Tyler Schultze.
Cat Holmes.
All right, and today we're going to talk about all things filmmaking. Specifically today, since we just had the Oscars, it kind of made me think about this. We haven't really talked about this too much, but it's sort of the idea of awards for making films, you know, all the different kinds involved with that. Also, you know, we could also talk about like film criticism and commentary and reviews and all that kind of stuff. I think all of us have a little bit of experience in that area, just reading them and that kind of stuff. So I think I'm going to open it up by just sort of saying I think that it's not a bad idea to have that, because you got a lot of people who are practically killing themselves making these things, and you know, not a lot of movies will, you know, maybe the money isn't, sometimes the money's great and stuff, but is that enough, you know, and then you're, you know, we're making things that affect people's lives and that kind of stuff, and I don't know, I think it's kind of important, you know, and I think without all of that stuff, it would kind of take away from the world of filmmaking and shows and all that too. So, you know, I think today I'm going to talk less at the beginning and kind of leave it open for you guys to kind of chime in at first. You know, so what do y'all think about the idea of that kind of stuff?
What do you mean by criticism and stuff?
Criticism, awards, all that kind of stuff.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't mind them getting an award, people getting awards for what they've done and everything like that.
Right.
I mean, there's some been one best picture, and I've not been haven't I agreed with every time they've had it.
Right.
Sometimes I've not even seen any of the movies, and so I don't usually judge that. I don't say, hey, that movie shouldn't have won that, but
Right.
I didn't see it, so you know, whatever. But as much as like best actor, same thing, you know, it's all down the line.
It's very subjective.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Right. You know.
I mean, but I don't. But as much as like criticism, critic. I mean, when I was a little kid, I watched Siskel and Ebert back when on PBS.
Right.
It was before.
Oh, yeah. At the movies? Is that what it's
No,
called?
Sneak Previews was their first show.
Okay.
And so they did reviews back. I guess it was late '70s, early '80s.
Right.
They did a show, and it was just the two of them, and they were just sitting. In that particular thing, their thing was basically almost something similar to this, a place like this, and they were just talking, you know, criticizing the movies at the time.
Sure.
And it can be bad to do that in some cases, like you just said. It kind of a lot of people may, you know, do their job to do this, but
Right.
of course, every type of art always had some sort of criticism or
Right.
critic of some kind.
The cool thing about those guys was oftentimes they would totally disagree.
Yeah.
Sometimes with movies.
Oh
So you
yeah,
got
I mean,
kind of a
there was
balanced
there was never a
yeah.
like edit in the thing to
Right.
say, like if they really went off on each other, they did not cut, you know, and said,
Right.
wait a minute, talk nicer, you know, whatever
Right.
they did. They
They're
didn't. They just let it
brutally
go,
honest.
and that's why a lot of people liked them.
Yeah. Yeah. What do y'all? Speaking of Siskel and Ebert, have y'all ever heard of them before? I imagine you may have, or something
No,
like that.
I
Yeah.
haven't.
So we hit a whole new generation. Like they were huge forever. Everybody knew they were.
Yeah.
It tells you those times are drifting away.
Right.
You know, but what has been y'all's experience with like reviews, awards, all that kind of stuff? Well, yeah.
It was funny because I watched the Academy Award the other night, and I was watching the tail end of it. That's the most that I was able to really focus on. And Melissa McCarthy, I'm a huge fan of her, and I didn't know about this movie because actually the last movie I watched of hers I didn't care for, which was shocking. But she was up for an Academy Award for Can You Ever Forgive Me? It's a true story. Lee something, and she is it embellished? I don't know the proper word for it. She basically it was just a good story. It was a good story.
I know you're talking about. I know
Yeah.
what you're talking about.
And she played the hell out of it, and I ended up watching it after. She didn't win the award, but I ended up watching it after, seeing the previews for it, and that shows you. You're not supporting and giving the opportunity for everybody to get the acknowledgement they deserve, but you're promoting your movies by doing this, and it's giving a good name. I 9 times out of 10 I will not watch a movie even if they win an Academy Award.
Right.
I don't care.
Sure.
I have to want to watch it. You can't tell me to watch it. and I loved it.
I
It was
felt
great.
like Oscars meant a little more earlier on in my lifetime, and I used to be into it. I used to watch it. Everybody did, you know, because it was the big show of the night. Everybody tuned in and watch it. But to tell you honest, I didn't really have any interest watching it this year, and it could be that I'm not a theater goer.
It's the
I'm
same
not
4
going to
movies,
see
that's why.
stuff. Yeah.
It's the same 4 movies. I don't
Yeah.
think that there was literally 4 or 5 movies that they kept talking about. And that's the thing I don't like about awards and stuff
Right.
like that, is because they'll never, I mean, I get it, that's the categories that were picked, but I'm sure
Right.
there's a process, but I don't like that I'm not seeing any other things. I'm just seeing the same movies.
Right.
The same people winning.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, okay, you did a
Sure.
good job.
I love Cuarón. He's great. He's won 4 Best Picture Oscars and stuff, you know. But it is kind of interesting. What do y'all think?
I think I remember watching one year and thinking that there were other movies that deserved Oscars more than the ones that were getting the Oscars,
Sure.
and I remember turning to my little sister and saying, "Can I just be in charge of the Academy Awards? Can it be me?" and then I'll let some of these other ones in too,
Right.
that everyone up there thinks is the right ones, and then I'll bring
Sure.
in the ones that everybody else thinks should get stuff.
Right.
But it feels, I imagine it feels to you guys as well, that it is the same 4 movies every year getting the stuff. It feels like there's a formula that
Yeah.
whoever is in charge is looking for, and they're like, "Yep, these 6 were, they check all the boxes."
Well, they have the term Oscar bait, where people
Yeah.
do certain movies, and it's like they always say, "Oh, this movie's an Oscar bait," because it's just like it's just one, like you just said, it probably checks all the
It's got
boxes.
racial conflicts.
Yeah.
It's got what
Didn't want this one.
gay character. It's,
Yeah.
Typically, it's going to be something that looks like it exists in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
Though fantasy does kind of sneak in through, you know, Lord of the Rings really.
yeah.
That was well.
The
deserved,
Hunger
I
Games
thought.
won a bunch of
The
awards.
Yeah, you know, stuff like that. I think it's also like goes in with criticism and reviews and word of mouth, all collectively give us like, you know, like they form a back history, so you can kind of see these things and you can go and find them and watch them. That's how I learned about a whole bunch of movies that I hadn't, you know, I wasn't around, but I heard of them, so I actively look for them and watch them and that kind of stuff. What about you, Tyler? How do you find out about like really great movies and stuff? How were you?
Oh, okay. So
influenced?
I've never really watched the Oscars or any of that.
Right.
I just never got into it.
Right.
But a quick question: did the Black Panther movie win anything?
It was
Yes.
yeah, it won
Was it design?
something. It was one of the design,
Alright,
you
good.
know, type.
I'll say Marvel
like,
deserves
spec-
at least one win. But but what I usually do, a big thing on me was YouTube, and I watched a lot of the filmmakers like Rocket Jump and Raka Raka, these Australian guys, and a lot of movie reviewers like Jeremy Janes, Chris Stuckman,
Right.
all those guys. I watched those guys when I was really young,
Right.
and I'd watch other movie reviews
Sure.
because I always thought reviews, especially from guys who know what they're talking about. I go, all right, how would I do it differently? Think the way before when I watch it, like how I would have done it, and then the same things click, and I'm like, oh, cool, so I'm kind of on the right track,
Right.
But they showed me a lot of movies I didn't know about,
Sure.
like The Thing.
Uh-huh.
I
John
saw.
Carpenter's?
Yep, the old one. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, what's that about? So I found out that and watched that. I was like, that's cool.
That's a great
So
movie.
most of me has just been movie reviews.
Right.
And they have thousands of old stuff,
Yeah.
new stuff too. So that's how I found out about that.
So I'd say access to commentary and thoughts on movies and stuff is way more prevalent than it's ever been before,
That's interesting what you're talking about. I know Jeremy John, and I don't know him, but I know you're talking about Jeremy Johns and Chris Buckman.
Yep.
I've watched them too. They're good reviewers, but they also review older movies, maybe newer movies, whatever the case may be. But that's kind of basically where I came from too, as much as Siskel and Ebert, because they would review independent movies, they would review big budget movies, but then smaller budget movies, all kinds of different movies. There was no one type of thing that they did, and that's how I found out about a lot about movies and a lot about different movies that is not in our local cinema, you know, being shown in our local cinema. I may watch them on video later on if they came out on video. Clerks was one of the ones they introduced me to. Because Kevin Smith, they introduced me to Kevin Smith basically. I saw an episode where they were reviewing Clerks, and I'm like, huh. And at that time, I just started, was not working there anymore, but my video store, when I was working at a video store, I just, got off that job, and then they had that scene in Clerks where the person says, what about that movie about that guy with the hair, all that stuff, and then, they kind of did that joke or whatever in there, and I'm like, that's exactly what, working in the video store was.
Oh, yeah.
And then the person said, where are the new movies? And they had this display, a big sign saying new movies right behind them or whatever.
It's like running 20 questions every day.
That was my life too.
And I'm like, that's what happened. And I'm like,
That's a good scary movie.
I'm like, I gotta see that movie. And it took, I said, I gotta see that movie, because I just laughed out loud with that little clips where they showed. I said, I gotta see that movie, and that's where basically my Kevin Smith came from.
Sure.
And so that's where I started. But then, like you said, they would review older movies too. That stuff that I never saw, but they did that. But I mean, that's why I just said it. It was the same kind of situation, but just in different format.
I also love how they'll do. Say they'll they'll rank all the Lord of the Rings movies from the best to the worst in their opinion, and I love watching that stuff because I like to think what I think's the best and the worst, and then I like when they say this one, I'm like, well, no, I think this one,
Right.
So I do a lot of that too, but and then a lot of criticism too.
You get tons of that on any kind of series or franchise and stuff like that. And you always do it. You can't help it. Even if you try to avoid it, you're not, because it's right there in your head, like Star Wars. What's your favorite Star Wars movie? Well, that's a very loaded question.
I think Return of the Jedi, people hate, but I think I like it more than the other two.
I like that one too for reasons like my dad. It was one of the few movies my dad ever took me to. And so I embed like an emotional kind of feeling about it.
I like the not to change the subject. I'm sorry. Did I interrupt
do
you?
it.
I'm so sorry.
You're good.
I was waiting for that moment.
We're
and I
having
was
a conversation. It's like when you're
Everybody jump in
skateboarding
the
and you're waiting for
We can
somebody
just
to
go
finish
little,
the
like,
pole,
feed
then
off
you
each
jump
other.
in. Yeah.
Everybody jump in.
A few minutes ago, I was thinking I know there's an award show that I love, and I know it's I think it's MTV Awards when they do their awards, because they'll have the more not lower budget, but more the bohemian side of everything.
Sure.
Is that the word you want to use for it? I don't know, but just more out there movies.
Right.
There's this movie I love called 3 Generations. It's about the life of a transgender kid.
Right.
And it had Naomi Watts in it and Susan Sarandon, big names, and then what's her face's sister that played the transgender girl. I don't know her name right now. Dakota Fanning's sister.
Right.
Anyways, it was such a great story, but I never heard anything about it. It never got any play, and I'm like, that's what MTV Awards does for me. It's they'll
So you find these little golden nuggets that you can go look for and
and they help me. They show me what to watch that I know that I would like. Academy Award is God, that looks so boring. That Billboard something movie I watched a couple years ago.
3 Billboards.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is so boring. I mean, it had moments that was good.
Right.
It had good characters.
my buddy Jason was in it, and he actually got really well paid for one day in it. So I want to see it because he's in it.
Good. But it was overplayed though.
Right, I got
They made it seem like it was so.
For sure.
Hyped.
Yeah, but I mean, don't get me wrong. The characters were really good, but
Sure.
I got bored.
Did they have just a show that rewards animations and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
They do it. Yeah, that's another thing we can get into is categories, and how they're treated. Oscars got in trouble because they were like, well, during commercial break, we're going to do cinematography and editing. Yeah. And then the world went, I'm sorry for my French, ape shit, and so
for
they
the what?
changed.
They changed that.
They were cinematography and editing. They were just going to play during commercials. They weren't even going to have them on the live show. They're just going to make it about directors.
Even
and
though
actors.
Filmmaking is basically like editing.
Without a camera and the edit, you ain't got no movie.
Yeah, try it.
Just because you can't see them doesn't mean they're not. I mean, if they weren't there, nobody else would be.
Hard to classify. Very hard to determine. Well, it's kind of loaded. What's better than this other one? Because. Most Hollywood, most of these movies are going to be edited very well.
Yeah.
They're going to be shot precisely and shot very well. So it's like,
It's two important
yeah,
things.
it's very hard.
It's kind of hard anyway to say that. I mean, you're talking about editing and everything. Everybody has an important part in the movie. I mean, art department, whatever the case may be. I mean, they win awards too, and they you know, like I said, it's one of those things where it's hard to say, well, this one's. I mean, not that it should be, but I mean, just how they say, well, this is lower. People don't really care about this one, so we're gonna put this over here anyway. But yeah, I mean, but the quintessential thing of filmmaking is editing, the cinematography, and all that other stuff.
What people don't think about is the business behind it. Do they have a category for producer?
I don't think so. I don't think.
My God, because that's.
I think Best Picture is kind of
That's
the
its own battle.
Yeah,
kind
but
of producer.
just because like I totally grew up artist and cinematography and editing all important and acting too and all that. But then
the Best Picture, I think the producers go up there,
Right.
so that, and other people. But I mean, I think they do. That's why I think.
Put together and made is an astronomical, like, you know,
I think
undertaking.
they should have a category for stuntmen too, though.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got
They've
other
been talking
awards.
about that
I think they
lately.
deserve
Are you
it.
talking about for the Oscars they should do that, or just for like any type of awards? in
Just
general?
any kind of work, just the knowledge that they're there because, man, those guys
Yeah.
throwing themselves off buildings and stuff like.
I know
It's like
risking their
skill,
lives.
you know.
It's teamwork to make a movie, man, and everybody's equally. If the movie comes out good, it's everybody's doing. It's not just one person. And I hate that. You know, you were talking about it a minute ago. I was like, you never see anybody run up to an editor and be like, "Oh my God, I love you. Can I have your signature?"
Yeah.
If they go up to an actor, and I get it.
I totally would.
I
Though.
get it. And yeah, if you know them and you know about them, but most people, unless you're in film school or have a love for it, you're not going to know who they are, which is sad. You know, because we get.
They
no
do
play.
get paid good, right?
Yeah.
So they're not too sad, I guess.
Right.
I mean,
I
yeah.
wouldn't be sad.
I wouldn't be sad either, but.
Gonna go on my yacht.
No, I take that back. If I made a movie, I remember I was talking to my friend one time, when I do photography, it means more to me. I love that people like it when they like his stuff, like on Facebook or whatever the case may be. Like, they're like, it's really good photography, it's really good, I love you, look great. And I'm over here like, I get no acknowledgement it directly. I love that you love it, but I want you to tell me that you love it.
Right.
I don't even care if there was money involved. I need that acknowledgement.
That's important. You gotta
I get
really
it.
appreciate the people who are making this movie with you.
Mhm.
It's not, you know, there's a big debate on, like, you know, a Steven Spielberg film or you know, Kevin Costner film or something like that. It's like, well, yeah, and I kind of give them a pass because that was what I grew up on. But I'm not gonna, and I did this on some of my early films, a Jesse Knight film, but I did literally do everything on it.
Yeah, you had every right.
Sound, shooting, art department, everything, but, you know.
Craft services.
I did. Like, you know, white bread and chips.
You know, that's so true. You're talking about
You're throwing
like that's
things
such
of
a
wonder
good point.
bread.
Like, I don't think I could do that now. Yeah,
No?
I don't think I could put a touch because it's not.
No.
I think what I would do is I'd have my crew, you know,
Right.
become good with that crew, and I'd be
Right.
like, all right, what are we calling the crew?
It's a team.
And I'd call it the team name film. I think that's how
Sure.
I would do it.
Right.
Because you're right, because like, there's no, even when I did those shorts and I had my friends, you know,
Right.
I was like, yeah, there's no way I could do this just by myself.
Yeah.
So.
It's,
Yeah, I agree
literally
with that.
impossible. Yeah. What's funny is, you know, we're sort of out of the era of print and stuff. And when I was a film nerd out of school and stuff, I kept buying stuff like Cineast and Film Comment and stuff. And there's sort of these, they're great magazines, but there's not a huge group of people reading them and stuff, you know. And but I found out about all these films I'd never heard of in those, much like you guys would find out on, like, online now and that kind of stuff. And I started looking for all these independent films and foreign films and stuff like that, and just ingested as much of that as I could because of that, you know, because of what they're saying about it and that kind of thing. You know, I don't do it as much anymore. You know, I'm just too busy with life and trying to make my own stuff. But you know, yeah. So yeah. What else?
Well, categories. Do you think? I mean, I know y'all may not care about the Oscars as much, but just to say this, if the Oscars, do you think they should change their categories as much as saying best comedy, best sci-fi movie, or best this or that, or whatever, different genres?
Going
or,
even more specific.
right.
Because most stuff is mixed genre now.
Yeah, and you know, that kind of thing. I mean, there again, the fight might be Well, no, that's not really a sci-fi movie. That's more of a
Doesn't
comedy
Academy
movie.
Awards
isn't
do that,
it?
though?
Huh?
Don't the Academy do that? Because I know there's the Oscars and there's Academy
the Oscars.
Awards, right?
It's the
There's
same.
Oh, it's the same
that's
thing?
the same thing.
There's another one.
There's another one.
Independent Spirit Awards.
The Golden Globes. I
Golden
think
Globes,
maybe
yeah.
do it. I don't know. I can't remember. There's one that does have a different.
There's genres.
Genres.
But the thing about it is that there's a comedy music. Was it comedy musical or something like that category put together or something where I take that back. Sorry. Because the musical or something, I don't remember, but there's a category that some of these movies have gotten into that they pushed into, and it's not even close to being a musical.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
not a musical.
Gotcha.
You notice that there hasn't been a lot of musicals in the past few years,
Right.
but it seems like they pushed in a musical comedy. Maybe it was musical comedy or something like that,
Right.
and it was not even close to being a musical comedy at all.
Right.
And I don't know how they
determined what it
determined
was.
what that was, why that was that way. But that's to me, and there again, I don't want that to be, if they try to do that for Oscars or whether
Right.
they may have the same problem.
Now, genre awards are prevalent in all these little bitty independent film, all these little film festivals that go on. Like I've won best sci-fi stuff, I've won best drama stuff. Films I've worked on have won that, I guess. But best horror, all that kind of stuff. Then they have like a lot of them too will have like audience choice awards.
Yeah.
Where it's like sort of like the popular vote.
Yeah.
That kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Which is almost more amazing because I would rather have it like that. Because
Yeah.
that's who I'm
You
trying
wanna
to capture.
win people,
Yeah.
I think if I had lots of money,
More money.
I would make a show that rewards movies like most rejected movie.
They have that.
The
They have that
Razzies.
Oh, they do?
The Razzies. But
I've never seen it, but
That's
I,
something.
if I won a Razzie, I would go. Be like,
Same.
damn
Oh, I'd
straight.
take it.
I'm
Well,
gonna own it.
Well, they got
They
like I
can
said,
acknowledge.
I worked hard to
I'm like,
make this terrible.
That's
I got no stupid film.
at the end of the day, they got money. They got paid for it.
Yeah, I mean,
Actor or
people saw
whoever
it.
got paid for it. Yeah.
Wasn't it like Showgirls or something like that got a Razzie once?
Showgirls?
But guess what? So millions of people saw that movie.
Did
It
who was
definitely
it?
made its
Cat?
money back.
didn't
and
you
back
say
and
it was
back.
Cat that did the Catwoman?
Catwoman,
Mhm.
Halle
Yeah.
Berry went and
Mhm.
she went and accepted her Razzie.
Yeah.
I think she was one of the that may have been the first actor who has ever done that
Who's
for
ever
their
actually
for
done
their
it.
for their movie
I
or
can
whatever
respect
type thing.
that.
Good for
Yeah,
her.
same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the first one.
I like that she knows
She
she's
bounced
badass.
back. She's good now.
I didn't think it was that terrible. I mean, I own it. I mean, I was a kid when I liked it.
I bet it
It's
made
back.
its money back.
I thought it was. I mean, I think it was just. Let's just make it a kids movie, okay?
Right.
Because that's when my mind liked it, and it doesn't anymore. But
Sure.
I liked it at one
I
point.
mean, I
Right.
can be positive. Like I liked her, but
Right.
just the hair product.
Well, see,
yeah.
she just come from winning a.
Yeah,
Well, see,
let's
like,
go over the
she
top.
had just she had just come from winning an Oscar with Monsters Ball.
Oh,
And that's
right.
why it was just kind of like
Mm,
she's
Gotcha.
doing this, now.
Well, she hit the
whatever.
top, so she was like, okay.
right.
And
Back
so
in that.
that's what they kind of look.
Well,
But to
Yeah.
have the grace to accept them
Yeah,
both
yeah,
the
it was
same.
great. It was
Yeah.
great. I mean, I'm not.
I mean, is
dismissing
it a
at all.
big joke
Yeah,
though
I
if you
mean,
go
it's
up
just
there?
like-
I mean, people making fun of you or something?
Oh no, she's laughing with them. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's
If
how
what do you
you
say?
I'm
approach
sure
it
she was
yourself.
probably
About the
the
movie or
guest of honor
something?
there.
No,
I'm
she's
sure
like,
she was.
thank you so
Probably.
much for putting me
Yeah.
in
I-
this
I-
terrible,
It's not like
horrible
they're pelting you
movie.
with tomatoes.
Yeah,
I had so
I
much
wouldn't-
fun.
I'd put
I thought
money
more
on
people
it.
would be interested in watching that. Yeah.
Right?
I think they probably where she was like we just said the guest of honor there. I mean, she was probably
Sure.
just like
Most
bowed
popular
down
person,
to
yeah.
because I mean it's like I could criticize your movie all I wanted to and say, man, that movie sucked, and then you walk in the door and I'm like, hey, how's it going, man? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because I can't do it to your face, but I can
Right.
criticize it all I want to
Right?
Sure.
out there. But I mean, it's that kind of thing. Plus, it's just like, hey, she's cool. She's cool. Coming in here, accepting her award.
Right.
Well, she didn't write the
It's just like-
movie, and even
No.
if she did, I guess there's somebody that liked it.
And
and
then
that's
she
what
got
matters.
paid.
Alright,
Yeah.
making that my life goal now, guys.
I
To get a
know.
Razzie.
Get a Razzie.
Okay.
I know personally, I'm friends with some reviewers and stuff, and like a buddy of mine hated F3. Like he thought it was a complete piece of blank, fill it in with something terrible. And but then he saw Orbs. He's like, I can't believe the same person made both films, and that kind of stuff. But he could talk about it with me intelligently, and he let me explain to him what F3 was about,
Yeah.
and that kind of stuff. He probably won't watch it again. I think he'll stay away, but at least he gave me the consideration to listen and that kind of stuff. And he
So he likes the orbs.
Yeah, loves it.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, and he was like, he's even like just sort of out of it. I was hired to be a gaffer on something, and he told that dude, "You don't hire Jesse Knight to be a gaffer," and that made me feel pretty good. But
Good.
Little segue.
But Jesse Knight will take what he can get.
Absolutely. I don't
Thanks.
mind being a gaffer because it was going to be for one of my favorite my DP.
Yeah.
And I learned,
Yeah.
like that. But that was still like, yeah.
It's a good compliment.
Yeah. Independent Spirit Awards are pretty cool. I don't know if they do them anymore.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I liked that show better than the Oscars.
How do you get
'cause
those?
It had same kind of deal. It's just another awards ceremony,
More
but
for
they have a
more
lot
for-
more independent films.
Yeah.
Mind you, these independent films are costing
Still
between
money.
$12 and $20
I want to get
million
on the Nickelodeon.
Still name brand
with
shows.
superstars in them and stuff like that.
Because they still like Winter's Bone with Jennifer Lawrence, although that was her first movie.
Right.
That was a low budget movie
Yeah.
compared to Hollywood
Probably
money.
made for
They got
12
the
million.
Yeah.
Kids Choice Award.
Mhm.
I want to get on that too.
Yeah.
You just want to be doused with slime. That's all
Yeah,
you want.
that's all I want. They still, you know, I just want to be like,
It's like winning Double Dare, yeah, or losing Double Dare.
sir, you didn't win. Just slime me. Are you sure? Do it.
I'd love that. Yeah.
The good old days. I miss being a kid. Anyways.
Oh, don't we all?
Yeah. But yeah, no, I agree with you about the
Sound like
indie.
you.
That is a dream of mine. Does Sundance, is that where you see most of Sundance movies?
Sunday, they have a lot of everything there.
Mhm.
Sundance is one of the top tier festivals. Toronto International Film Festival, Cannes or Cannes, however you pronounce it, Rotterdam in Germany for some reason. Those are the big four, you know, and they're really hard to get into, you know.
Sundance, isn't it expensive too?
It's a tiny little ski resort town, you know, and it always has problems like with logistics, and it's hard to get to, and yet it's one of the big festivals, one of the big respected kind of things. You know, it's interesting in that kind of way. One I went to that I loved, and I was like close to half my age now. I was in my 20s, but I went and saw. Went to South by Southwest in Austin, Texas. And that was just like, my eyes were bugging the whole time. I don't think I blinked for a week. I was just like going to every panel, watching as many movies as I could. I was just eating it up. It was just really incredible. Like 4 different theaters where stuff was playing. Plus they have, on top of film, they've got music. So at night, all the bars have all these bands and competition playing and stuff like that. And then they also have like, gear and equipment kind of things. I'm sure you've heard of Quay talk about the NAB thing he goes to every year. Well, they had a
Las
mini
Vegas.
version of that. You could see all these crazy gadgets, and I saw the first high-def cameras there. It was really like, oh, it's so clear, and you know.
Oh my God.
And now we're using that stuff all the time, you know. But it was that was kind of cool, you know. Then you hear all the, like I heard Robert Rodriguez talk. I heard all these different
that was
filmmakers
awesome,
talk. It was great. You know, I was just like, and I've been reading these magazines at the time, and just, you know, in film school, of course.
I'd have a little heart attack.
Yeah, I had a little heart attack, you know. Yeah, it was great.
Especially at that age when you're like, you know, you've seen a lot, you know, but when you're young and you haven't seen so much, that's when it starts to kind of hurt a little. You're in love so much with what you're doing. You're just like, ow, like I love this
And
too
that was
much.
the area where I had just gotten a Hotmail account. The internet wasn't there yet. You know, there wasn't a lot of access to stuff there. You know, it's still all in print and word of mouth and stuff. So it was exciting. You know, now it's really good. I highly advise going to all these little tiny festivals. All these cons and stuff are worth going to. They have interesting panels, really cool activities, lots of little films to watch. You're gonna have like a lot of cool actors and stuff. I recommend. I was at Mysticon, which was awesome. They had. Their guest of honor was the, Robert Picardo from, is that Voyager?
Yeah.
Yeah, Star Trek Voyager, who's
Okay.
the holographic doctor. But he was right there, you know, he's awesome. And, but at the same time, in Charlotte, they had Mad Monster Party, which has got all these horror icons and stuff.
That-
Like, you
talking
got
about the one
Sid
recently?
Haig, you've got people like that all over the place, you know.
That looks fun.
Yeah.
I'm going to that one next year.
And how it's going with the movies, when we get a movie now, that's going on, Mysticon's going on, this other one called Conuga, which is in Chattanooga, Tennessee, is all the same weekend. So pretty soon we're going to be hitting all three at once. You know, you send a representative with your film, if it gets in, you know, fingers crossed, but that's kind of an interesting way to hit it.
Oh no, just, I don't know if they have any kind of like people showing movies or whatever type thing. But Dragon Con was one
They do.
in Atlanta. I don't.
They got a film
It's
fest.
probably built bigger than when I was going.
They reject me every year, but they got one.
One year they will. They will.
But Dragon Con in downtown Atlanta, they have every. I guess now it's Labor Day now. It didn't used to be Labor Day when I was going.
I got people that go there like it's a pilgrimage to Mecca or something. You know,
I used to live down in Atlanta for about 7 years, and went to it, and it was pretty cool. It was just a sci-fi fantasy convention or whatever type thing. But now they built it up so much now. But
just like 4 hotels downtown there.
It was not quite there yet, but it was getting there when
it's
I was going down there.
I guess on the East Coast.
But it was not. I mean, I liked it because it's like a lot of they'd have a lot of celebrities, what I consider celebrities, and y'all may say who the heck is that? I say
Throw me one.
Well, I mean, they had Mark Hamill there.
Sears.
They did have Mark Hamill there one year, but that was because that was even before the prequels came out. So I mean, it was not. I think the prequels were even announced yet.
Right.
So he was just there, just doing a thing, doing signing autographs and stuff like that.
If you're into comic books,
And,
like tons of those guys.
Yeah.
Those people will be there. Like,
Richard Hatch, not the Survivor person, the person who he played Apollo on the original Battlestar Galactica.
Oh yeah.
He was.
I met him at a small con.
A favorite of mine because I used to like to watch the show. Just like people from that, like old sci-fi shows from this, or a guy from used to play Superboy on the Superboy live action TV show. I mean, that kind of stuff. And I mean, they had Adam West when he was alive, and then Frank Gorshin who played Riddler on Batman, and this kind of thing. And I was. And you'd go to panels and they'd have people talk about their show or whatever they were on and that kind of thing. And you find out some very funny stuff and tidbits of behind the scenes stuff and everything like that. But I used to love doing that because it's like I said again, it was my childhood. Even though I was actually I think I was y'all's age at the time that I was going to it, but maybe a little older. But it was my childhood that I was watching there, and so I mean it was. So, that was really fun to do that kind of stuff.
I met Vernon Wells. I'd never, actually, at this same festival, it's called Fantastic Fest. I don't know if we'll go to that one again, but it's kind of a big one in I think, Tennessee. And it was, it's in Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky. Sorry, not Tennessee. And I was like, autographs, whatever, I don't need to get, I completely flipped. I saw Vernon Wells, the dude with the mohawk from
Weird Science.
Weird Science, but
Mad Max.
Huh?
Mad Max.
Mad Max, yeah, the Road Warrior, and that was one of my favorite icons as a kid growing up was that character. And I met him, and I totally couldn't speak, and I mumbled out I had a mohawk for 6 years, and he got a little bit okay, well here's some pictures, I got I don't know 3 different. I just bought tons of autographs just from him, and now, fingers crossed, I'm gonna maybe work with that guy this summer. So it's just kind of.
Are you gonna do the same thing?
I'm gonna be worse. I'm gonna have a mohawk. I don't know if I'm a diet red yet or not, but but I'll probably be able to speak clearly. I can kind of concentrate a little.
Do you think you'd get nervous if you were in a position where you're obviously gonna be in that, but you're gonna DP then, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, where you're DPing with people that you've looked up to over the years.
Yeah.
Do you think it'd be really hard for you at first to get in the zone because you'd probably be nervous, or do you think you just jump in the zone?
I don't know. It depends when we work with them. If it's been 5 or 6 days before I see him, I'm just going to be I'm in the trenches.
Yeah.
It'll still be exciting and all that. Yeah. If my wife doesn't have to go to school that day, she's going to pick him up. She's met him before. She loves the guy.
Really?
He's really cool. Yeah.
That's cool.
So,
huh.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't have the same thing because I didn't get up to his table. But Mark Hamill, when he was there at Dragon Con, he walked by me, and I was just like, because it's just like I was I was 7 years old watching Star Wars, New Hope or whatever, and he was smaller than I was. You know, he's tiny.
Yeah.
So he's like really short.
Really?
He's like that to me or whatever
He's
type
just a
thing.
little bit. He's a little taller than I am.
Yeah. And
Taller than you are.
and so I was just like, he walked by me because he was like leaving his table, and he had left the table, and he was kind of like being kind of like had a person in front of him, person behind him. He didn't have anybody going, you know, or anything like that. Because like I said, again, this is still before the prequels, before anything. I mean, he was a fixture of sci-fi people, you know, fans or whatever, of course.
Oh, yeah.
But he was still that. I mean, I think he's become more of a person since the Star Wars had become back, because at this time Star Wars in fandom had golf on the back burner for a little while.
Right.
And nobody, I mean, everybody still liked it, but they wasn't like, you know,
Hadn't
clubs.
been a movie in a while.
There wasn't a bunch of clubs. There wasn't, you know, this was pre-internet too, so there's no all this stuff going on the internet. You know, people having clubs talking about him, all this other stuff. So there was not all this popularity, Star Wars popularity on him at this time. So it was still, you know, so people were just showing, you know, people just showing him, you know, hey, you need to walk here, go this way. I guess he was on a break or whatever type thing. And he was just there, and I was just like, he looked up at me, kind of like he tired. It had probably been a while since he had a break. So he didn't, you know, I didn't say anything to him, but I was going to the same thing. I was going, like that. I just couldn't do anything. I just stood there frozen because it was just like.
It's like when you're trying to talk to a
It's
crowd.
Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, it's
man.
Luke Skywalker. He was my favorite character from the.
Did you have the action figure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How old was he at the time?
Huh?
How old was he at the time?
40s
This-
probably.
Yeah.
And how old is he now?
This was
60s, I guess.
Yeah, 6.
this was late 90s, mid to late 90s, or like I said before. So it had to be mid 90s. So yeah. So this, I was just, you know, I was just like, I mean, I don't think I could have, because the funny thing about it is, I didn't even have to go, I didn't have to stand in that long line, because there was a long line for that table for
Right.
autographs from him.
Oh, yeah.
But I didn't even have to to see him. You know, I didn't
Right.
have to sit, you know, stand on line. He just had. I just happened to be at that point, you know, in a area where they had, you know, some tables, you know, for comic books and all whatever type thing
Right.
going on. And he just had walked by, you know, just walked by. Like I said, there wasn't a crowd around him or anything like that. He was just walking by. So they just like.
Oh, yeah.
Don't you hate that shit?
Have you guys gone to any cons or film festivals?
Try to get my dad to take me one.
There's tons. Well, now you can drive.
Now I can drive.
You take
Yeah.
yourself, you know, or go together. It's good to go with a little crew and go and kind of
I
have
do
fun.
want to go.
It's
We
great. There's
just
so
call
many
ourselves
little
the Three
ones. You know, you can go for the
Musketeers.
day for a lot of the
Let's
small
make a
ones
movie
for
and
$10,
present it to
you know.
Yeah.
It's not bad, yeah. And you know, if you guys work on a movie of mine or whatever, you'll have an opportunity. Like I can get passes, you know, that kind of stuff.
Cool.
You know.
Yeah, it is expensive at some of them.
It
Dragon
is.
Con,
Yes.
even back then,
That's
Dragon
why
Con was
I've
expensive.
I went into debt.
Right.
Like some of my credit card debt is from hotel rooms and stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
But I got a buddy who gets comp, so now I just crash on a room. I go for a night or something like that.
I was
You know.
sharing a room with a friend of mine. We were good friends, and we were collect comic books together at that time, and we were into sci-fi and stuff. And so we went down. We got a room downtown in Atlanta, so we were able to be there, right there for everything. So we shared a room. Of course, that was is a very expensive.
If you get a room at the hotels where it's happening, you gotta get it the year before in advance.
Now,
at
yeah, at that
least.
time we were able to get it out, but
Sure.
yeah, now it's like
Oh,
you
yeah.
got to get it like years
It's
from now.
astronomical.
That's
Yeah.
ridiculous. I
It
got it.
is. All right, take care.
See you, man.
Y'all have a good break.
Oh yeah.
I'll see you when you come back.
Yep.
Bye, Randall.
But
But definitely go see. It's worth it. Like go, even the little ones are fun. You know, they got all kinds of little activities going on, and then like you see stars, people you recognize in movies. Like you talk about aliens. I went to Con Carolinas last year. There's Vasquez and Hicks right there.
oh my God, yeah, that's right.
I talked to both of them. They're great. Got autographs.
Yeah.
You know, really cool.
Nice.
And then there was Bishop
Oh.
right there too. His line was longer, so I couldn't
Yeah,
get to him.
he's
done
a
lot more.
yeah, he's
Yeah,
Didn't
yeah.
you go to Comic-Con for your movie?
Tons, yeah. A lot of shorts. I've gone to some with Orbs, some with some other films, Hybrid. Guns, Water, Food was the first one actually. I went to Con Carolinas and I got like something Artur Award or whatever for it, you know. I'm still friends with the guy that was running it then. Actually, he's one of the producers on Kill Googles, which we're going to do this
Cool.
summer. But, you know, it's kind of funny how you make these relationships with people and over the years things build up. It's kind of cool. But it's just fun. You guys should.
It is.
You all
It
like
always looks
movies.
fun.
You can't really throw a rock without hitting a convention.
Yeah.
I mean, you got them in Raleigh, everywhere, you know, even small ones. Greensboro's got a great little film fest called Wreak Havoc. You know, sometimes a film fest is better. You can just go in there. It's all about watching films and stuff like that. Cons are much more open.
What happens when you win something?
You get an award at awards night or awards day.
Do you get
In my
anything from that?
case, you get told that you get an award and then you never get
And
it.
if you got your IMDb stacked up and it's one that's counted in that, then you have that goes
Cool.
to your IMDb, you know,
Cool.
points, you know, you're building your character.
Yeah, building
you know. That kind of thing.
I remember I got rejected from a film festival
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't know what I was doing, you know, because I had music that was copyright, you know, I didn't know all this stuff.
Right.
But, you know, I just put that one Steven thing in.
Yeah.
That way, I thought I got conned out because, you know, it was like months later and I was like, oh, I probably got ripped off. It's one of those fake ones. But I
Right.
did anyways. And I got an email and it said, thank you for submitting this. This is just not something that we would, that we can show.
Right.
It was something about violence and all that. And the guy said, he said something like, I usually don't tell people about how I feel about this. Like, I just tell them no or yes. But he said, yours was pretty funny though.
Yeah,
I was like,
that's cool.
well, at least I got
Hey, that's
something.
great.
At least they watched it. It sounds
Yeah,
like they watched it at
he
least.
said it was pretty funny though.
Nothing wrong with that.
But I was like, hey, that's cool.
My father was an author. He never got anything published, but he certainly tried. But he'd get really good rejection letters. They said everybody in the office liked it, but the guy in charge, just it's not something he's
It's
looking for.
something.
Yeah.
Does he still have those books he wrote?
I've got them, yeah.
Should get
Actually,
published.
they were all done on typewriter, but I've taken his best one and typed out the whole thing on a computer file. You know,
And it's finished?
I need to get it's been
You gotta get it
finished.
published.
It's finished. I know.
You gotta do that for him.
I need to get a copy written too, because I gave it to this other guy that kind of fell off the face of the earth to be a copy editor on it, and you know, so
You should definitely do that.
yeah, I am.
That'd be so cool.
It's well written, I think.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll
I am
do
his
it.
son, but you know, a little biased, I guess. But I read it in 3 days.
You gotta finish what he started. Well, hey, there you go.
Snap.
Finish what he started.
Yeah, I want to. That's one of my dreams with it, for sure. He got me into filmmaking.
What, for each of you, classifies a movie as being award worthy?
I probably
That's
can't.
a hard question.
I'm probably just simple, but to me it's like,
Getting finished.
That's
I mean,
fair.
I don't know, I'm not as good as that because, you know, people acting good and all that. I mean, it's like, was it entertaining?
Right. Hey, that's
Did it
that's
entertain
definitely
everyone?
viable.
Did everyone like it? Was it like 97% on Rotten Tomatoes?
That's kind of.
And I'm like, that's your one award. Like, you know, like,
yeah.
Baby Driver.
Right.
Fun, full of music, great movie. That should have won something. I don't know if it did, but
Okay, we can talk about that later. Anyway,
it's
I
a
have
great
problem with that
movie.
movie.
Oh.
I'm not. I love Edgar Wright. I love
Oh.
Edgar Wright. I love Hot Fuzz. I love Shaun of the Dead. I love the sitcom he did, Spaced. I watch all that.
Spaced. That's what you say, Spaced.
Yeah.
Space. All right, I gotta
Yeah.
watch it because I'm a big fan.
It's really good. That's what was filmed before even the Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
So, but I like Scott Pilgrim. I like his.
I watched that.
Like he did.
I liked it.
I really liked it. But that for some, I thought I was gonna sit down and watch Baby Driver. I thought, man, this is gonna be awesome.
You didn't like
I've heard
it?
so many good things about it.
What?
And at the end of it, I was like, because I didn't like Jamie Foxx's character. I didn't like Jamie Foxx's character or who's the other John Bernthal. I like him as an actor. I like Jamie Foxx as an actor. I think they've done some good work.
You
John
just
Bernthal.
didn't feel that the
It was-
characters were necessary?
I just didn't think their characters were. They were cartoons. To me, they were cartoons. They were, oh, I'm the bully, so I'm going to be bullying this guy. And then John Bernthal left, and then Jamie
Jamie Foxx.
Jamie Foxx.
With
That's a
two
different person
X's.
right there. Jamie Foxx comes in and does, hey, I'm the bully. I'm going to bully this guy again. And I mean, it's just like the same thing. He just saved you from their whole. They've done their job. They're doing their job. It's not like he messed up. It's not like he screwed up, messed up
I would
anything.
agree with that.
And they got back to the.
It's like,
and it's just like
when I did watch it.
On him? Why
Yeah, when I watched it, I was like, I
asshole
will
to
say
him?
that I was like, I wonder why they're just hating on this young guy. Is it because he's young?
It's because he wears sunglasses inside. That's
why. Okay. Again,
I
it makes
get
no
that.
sense.
I get that.
But it's just that kind of thing. It was just like he was. It seemed to be they were in a different movie than everybody else was. That and it's just like it made no sense. And I'm like, I don't like the character at all. And so right now I'm just not liking him at all. So I don't care. A lot of people say, oh, they love Jay Fox, did a great job in it. I'm like, he was just being a bully, it's just like I don't, and to get his character, I didn't understand his character by the end. I didn't care about his character, and I mean, when you have characters like that, I just want them. If they killed him right there, I'm like, okay, whatever, move on. And it's just like,
Totally agree.
And I mean, I understand what they're trying to do with Baby's character. I honestly didn't like him being called Baby, but it's just like that's just little snippets.
I always thought it was a decision, like, I need you to be the worst character possible so that when our hero kills you, the audience won't think, he's like an anti-hero now.
Like I said, it's a fun, simple one. But my favorite Edgar Wright movie is
I'm not
Hot
going to
Fuzz.
dismiss y'all like it. I'm not.
That's my favorite
Hot
one.
Fuzz, yeah, actually, I like
Baby
that.
Driver's number 2 for me.
Great or good.
Yeah. I love the part where I love
you shut up.
I love the part where they go to the guy who has all the weapons, and he's like,
Yeah.
like I love that kind of stuff. It's fun.
I hadn't seen Baby Driver, but my parents did. They liked it.
You gotta watch it.
Well,
They seem
I mean, a lot of people like it. It's not like I'm not. I know I'm the outer, the
What's funny?
Person, because I never heard any bad things about it. I've never heard any bad things from anybody else about it. So I just,
A movie I know I talk a lot about the Marvel movies, and I'm probably gonna hate on this, but a movie I went into, and a lot of people like it, and I'm like, it's okay, it's not my favorite. It was Infinity War.
Yeah, I don't.
I thought it was good, but I didn't come out going, wow, you know what I mean? I think because maybe it's just because it's half of the story, maybe.
Right.
And my biggest problem with it, though, is it splits up everybody. And once you just get into that one story, it cuts to the next story. Mm. And I just was like, oh, can we stick with you know what I mean? That was my thing with that movie. But
I took it as that's comic books. They'll switch over to another story.
I get that.
Kind of thing.
Like,
I mean, but that's,
Like, when they advertised, the Wakanda fight, I was like, yo, it's going to be like a big fight. And you really think about it, it's really not that long of a battle, and it's and like I'm more interested in watching the Titan fight, it's like I'd rather just see because I do like when Thanos comes back, and it could be the Black Order, because every time I watch it I just see myself fast forwarding and going to the Titan fight, right? Because I just love when they're fighting Thanos and it's like super, you're like, you know what I mean?
That was the main thing I pulled from was Thanos,
yeah,
it was the most interesting.
And then Thor and Rocket, I like those dynamics.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I bought the movie because I'm like, I do like it, but I'm still like, oh.
Like I said, I mean, I don't mean to bring out a Baby Driver, hate or whatever. But,
no.
I mean, it's not. I hated the movie. It's not like I might even give it another shot just to make
I love it when I hear people who these movies that people all love, and then there's people that don't. I love hearing this side of because I'm right there with you. A lot of movies, so I'm like,
I'd give it another shot to see maybe it was the mood I was in at the movie at the time. But I just like I said, it's not unwatchable. It's not like I said, it's not something I would never watch again. That. It's just that because I said I know a lot of people. It was filmed in Atlanta, which. I recognized Atlanta because I was, I was living down there, so I recognized some of the stuff on there. But again, right at the beginning, the physics on some of that stuff was with the car, because a lot of stuff he was really the driver. I mean, the stunt work in there, stunt driving were, oh my God, But some of the stuff, he was a good driver getting around stuff. But then other times it was kind of he was lucky. I mean, just the way where a car just so happened to go this way and that way, that kind of thing. But that's just you gotta let your mind go a little bit on that one. But because that's every action movie if they have a big driving.
Is there a
scene
movie
or whatever.
that you just weren't so into that everyone praises?
It's interesting. Yeah, there are.
And you're like, oh, I mean, it's great.
You
but
know,
not.
it's kind of odd because some of them ended up being movies I really liked later on, like Gladiator. I went to the theater to see it, and I kind of came out kind of feeling flatlined about it.
Mm.
But then I bought the DVD, watched all the special features, watched it a million times, and I
I
liked
still
it.
didn't like that.
No, I liked it a lot. So, you know, it's sort of very subjective.
I wonder why that happens to
sometimes.
us. You know, like it's like.
Mhm.
Like some people, they don't feel it like everybody else.
Right, or you want it to be something
And you-
that's not what you
Yeah,
want
right.
it to be.
It's
Maybe.
like it's
You know?
Again,
It's
that's
exactly
like
what it is.
It's, maybe that's why, because I mean, like I said, I love to write stuff, and I just felt like it should be maybe this should have, you know, whatever. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, maybe that's what it was, you know, maybe or an actor you really like an actor or an actress or whatever, and you see them in every movie, and you thought they gave a great performance in every movie. Then you saw this one, and it's just like, or you know, whatever it is, and you just like. You were expecting, you know, more.
Now in the reverse, there's plenty of ones that people hated that I loved. You know,
Mhm.
like I can pull them out like Tron, the first Tron movie. No one went to see that movie.
The new one?
I loved
The
it.
remake?
No,
Tron.
the very
oh
original
the
one.
original.
Yeah.
I was a kid. Me and my
Jeffrey.
sister went to see it, and we were the only ones in the theater. No one saw it.
Are you saying that?
No Tom Cruise.
Oh no.
He was in the remake of Tron, right?
Mm-mm.
No.
No.
Okay, who was it?
That was.
Because I'm seeing Tom Cruise's face in a trailer.
There's a guy that
Oh,
looks similar.
Tom
but
Cruise
He was.
did it.
I don't recognize. I don't remember what the guy's name was, but he looks similar to Tom Cruise. But
Okay.
yeah. But no. He's not.
Now I'm just putting in the different facial features.
Now I'm thinking of
in my
Tom Cruise in
mind.
a Tron movie. I'm like, oh,
I mean,
maybe
the only
good.
thing that kind of looks similar to Tron, but it's really not the same as Oblivion. But I mean, it's kind of futuristic. It's the same.
I haven't seen it, but I know the movie
Yeah.
you're talking about.
It's alright. I mean,
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. Same
Seen
like
some scenes from it. Look, actually,
Same like,
It looked good. I
my
mean,
friends all praised the Looper movie,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
and I watched it and I was like, oh, it was alright.
Yeah. Another one, like, and they end up being like cult classics, but like Blade Runner, the original Blade Runner movie, it bombed.
Yeah.
I saw that and I watched
loved it.
I watched the first one and I was like, these are some good old Marvel movies that are pretty classic. Like,
Yeah.
it's pretty good for its time.
Right.
I liked his story and it's.
Oh, you talking about Blade?
It's.
Blade
I'm talking about
Runner.
Blade Runner.
Oh, I thought we were
The
talking about
futuristic
Blade, the
thing
superhero
with
Blade.
the one
I was
with,
like, they're over the
I was
top, but
wondering why you
I
were
kind of
Marvel,
like
but, you
Blade
know, I was
though.
just like, okay,
Blade's
you
good
know.
too, but the,
Blade Runner, I guess.
Blade Runner with Harrison Ford and all that. That original.
That
one
wasn't
was just-
received good at first.
No, it bombed.
It bombed.
Really?
Immediately
So
bombed at the
awesome.
theater.
You know, it
'Cause-
has a huge.
See, you just
bomb.
can't trust.
You got to remember when it came out. This was
84, 85, something like that.
Yeah, I don't remember
83,
exactly what. Yeah, maybe
yeah.
83.
I mean, I get it. It
But,
was the first.
This is Harrison Ford. He had just come from Star Wars, so you're
Right.
thinking this is sci-fi.
Oh yeah, you want.
Star
Indiana
Wars.
And it's
Yeah.
slower, right? It's
It's a very-
like
it's a
a
very-
detective piece in the future.
yeah.
It's a very sci-fi.
I get
very
that.
slow.
I get
and,
that.
And see, people were thinking Han Solo. We're gonna see Han Solo again on
I've
screen, but
never
it
seen
didn't.
a world like that before. And
Yeah.
it set the precedent.
that was
this
like
is how
the-
future cities look.
That was like the first time, right? I swear, like when
Yeah.
you got someone designed a future city, right?
Right.
And another one that gets panned. I love David Lynch's Dune. David Lynch
I like
even
Dune.
took his name off of it. I
Yeah.
love that movie.
It bombed major.
Oh, major.
Which movie was this?
Dune.
Dune.
D-U-N.
Yeah, they're about to do. I'm curious about the new one. They're
Dune.
actually coincidentally the guy who did the remake, or not the remake, the sequel to Blade Runner 2049, is doing the Dune reboot. So that'll be.
I,
kinda
I liked
interesting.
it. I think it was ahead of its time because
Yeah.
a lot of people didn't understand it because again, they're getting sci-fi 80s,
Mhm.
sci-fi, Star Wars. Everybody saw Star Wars movies and they're like,
Yeah.
Star Wars, sci-fi.
Right.
It's not Star Wars
It's not a
sci-fi.
throwaway.
And
It's
so,
not.
and so that's why they're bombing. You know,
Mhm.
Flash Gordon was the same thing.
Right.
It was very cheesy and very campy,
Sure.
and had some very silly moments to it. But it's got a little bit of
There's some
fun to it or whatever. But again, Star Wars, no, not Star Wars. You know, that kind of thing. So
Right.
I think that if you notice sci-fi, if you go back and look and see sci-fi during even the 80s itself, there wasn't a lot of good buzz
It
about
wasn't
any of
considered
those
a
movies.
safe venture, really,
Yeah,
business.
there wasn't a lot of them either. So, because everybody was looking at Star Wars
Right.
stuff, and then that was it. If it wasn't better than Star Wars, then it's not a good movie. So, or wasn't like Star Wars, it wasn't a good movie. But anyway, but yeah, I liked Dune because I didn't see it really until 2000,
Right.
and this was from '84, I guess, when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked it. I really liked it. And I thought to myself, and I think it was because it was ahead of its time. It had a feel of, if y'all watch Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it had a feel of a little bit of Doctor Who in there. I mean, just the sci-fi aspect of
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
It didn't have time stuff or whatever, but it just had the feel of the characters, the kind
And
of
the
thing.
worlds that they came from.
Yeah, it just seemed like maybe a little bit of Doctor Who, a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of just in a little bit of different aspects of that
To me, it was like they took like one of those epic films about the ancient days, of like Rome or Greece or something like that, but they set it in this, a far off place in another galaxy or something like that. It was like an epic film, but done in that sci-fi world. I loved it, but it didn't do well. And I know that it was a really hellacious jet. There's a good book about it, and David Lynch goes into it pretty thoroughly about all the trouble he had making that thing and how it was kind of ripped out of his hands and how just so much struggle. I can see him associating it with a lot of pain in his life, because they cut short all the special effects, so they had to kind of go with what they had, and then lots and lots of sets and stuff was held on a ship. Like there was problems with Mexico and the U.S. about letting them use the stuff that had shipped in there. So it was really, they shot in Mexico, and it just all the trouble. And I can kind of get that. Like I did a short film hybrid. I'm not happy with it. I gave it my all that I could at that time. A lot of people kind of, I guess, seem to like it, but I just can't get over the hardships of it and the problems with it and that kind of thing. Also, a movie I loved called Beastmaster that you may not see. I love that movie. I loved it, but the director he cringes when he hears it. He's cool. He's appreciative when people like it and stuff. But man, he can't get past like the hell that he went through making it and how he's treated in that process.
I think again that came from it came out right after Conan, maybe around time.
Yeah.
So it's kind of Conan-esque or whatever. So
totally.
Everybody liked Conan, but no, that's not Conan. The kind of thing where it's just like, it's.
But if you're a kid and you saw it, you loved it because
they
had all this crazy stuff in it.
They reran it on the movie channels a lot and everything.
Which is why I love all the kids who grew up with the prequels, or love them.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that they love them.
One thing that shuts me up about that is like, oh yeah, it's made for kids, and they loved it.
And they loved it.
Well, see, George Lucas even said the original 3 he was made for kids.
Yeah.
Now that wasn't necessary. They didn't have what the prequels had. I mean, I'm not a prequel hater. I will admit at the beginning.
I'm not a prequel hater.
I'm not saying that I can appreciate now more than I was when they first came out.
Do you like any of
what?
them? Me and Jesse were talking about it, and
A lot of people like the third one. I kind of like the second one.
I was gonna say I like the second one. I'm glad you like it.
I mean,
Attack of the Clones is fun. It's just fun.
Yeah.
I get the problems, but
I get the problems too.
I like Django. I like the pit, the creatures, and the fighting.
I mean, I saw the
it's fun.
Where it seemed to me that the third one was okay. A lot of people like the third one because even the people who hate on them still like the third one. But of the 3, I think the third one just seemed to be rushed. It was like we gotta him Darth Vader real fast. Come on, he's Darth Vader. Okay, you're Darth Vader now. I'm like, wait a minute, that came out of freaking nowhere. And you didn't see the development. More development where the second one was a little more development of how he was going toward the dark side. This one was just like, okay, you're dark. Okay, Darth Vader.
I think the reason I like the second one a lot though is it focuses a lot on Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
When him tracking down Django.
That was an interesting part. That was interesting.
I just love Egbert.
It's almost a detective film. In that kind of
exactly.
Sense. It's a spy film. It's great.
Because it's the best. One of the coolest scenes, is when he's chasing him and they're having this spaceship fight.
Oh.
And it's just Obi-Wan's trying to get him, and they have that cool scene where Django shoots the bomb that goes.
And the sound cuts out.
Cuts out.
Yeah.
As a kid, I was like, "Yo, that's so cool!" And I watched it again. I love that scene every time.
The only problems I had was, but again,
I like it.
The problems I had with that movie was the scene with him and Padme. The writing wasn't there.
Oh, with the giant tick cows.
No, I mean,
No, he's talking about when he's
I'm
with
talking
her.
about them just talking with each other in a room
But
together.
What about sand?
Right.
Yeah.
I
hate
just watched.
sand.
I fast forward to just watch everything with
I
Obi-Wan.
hate sand too.
Like I like when Obi-Wan is caught and Count Dooku's talking to him, and you learn more. And Obi-Wan, and he's trying to get him to turn. Like
Right.
Those
Obi-Wan is that movie. I just
He makes
I mean,
it.
He makes
part
it,
of the
man.
story is about him, his downfall, his going dark, but also his relationship with Padme or whatever. That was part of it because that's where the twins came from, and so they had, that should have been done. But the writing in that should have Lucas should have
But I
gotten
will
somebody
say,
to write those scenes.
Obi-Wan and Anakin when they're in the pit and they're fighting, and they're like tied up.
Right.
I do like the chemistry between them. And that when he's tied up and he goes,
The
"I told you to
jokes.
stay away," and he's like, "I just couldn't help it. I love you so much," whatever he said.
That's great.
And he's like, "So how do you think we get out of this one now?" Like, I love that. Like, I feel it. I see where he was going with it because it worked really well there.
Right.
Believe it or not, the scenes that they cut out actually had better scenes between him and Padme.
Really?
As much as writing, but they cut them out. And
Was that up to George, or do you think someone
I don't,
else?
I don't know. Because if you get the DVDs that have the cut, the cuts, they have the cut scenes on it, and it's him and Padme where he actually visits her old home that she grew up in, and they're in her old room, and he's talking to her, and he's sitting on her bed and all that, so they're talking, and that's actually a pretty good, nice scene or whatever. And I was like, why didn't they have this? Because this develops their relationship a bit better, a little bit. Not everything, but I mean, it does a better job of it.
Even more characterization.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's but but like I said, the second one, I mean, like I said, it just seemed to be the third one. Just like I said, yeah, but there again, the very end where he goes, no, I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, that part.
Why do you think they made him do that?
I don't know.
I get
Just
very
like
confused.
That's a standard to me.
They should have just had
That's a cliche.
I would've just-
and just have him breathing.
It's
Not
That,
saying
or I
word.
would have just like how they did it, but exaggerated when he gets up before everything starts shaking. When he gets up, everything starts
Or
shaking.
she could have said like
The minute he says the line, "You killed her,"
right.
then when everything's shaking, that's when you should have done that.
To me, his humanity should have been gone. But
Yeah, he's a different
To
person.
me, he
You're
should
right.
have been, "What is your wish, my master?"
Yeah.
Just maybe.
Yo, that would have been creepy, and that's the last word.
maybe,
Yeah.
but maybe not.
And then you hear the breathing.
Humanity was still, humanity
Yeah.
will be going like that.
Well, that's what
But
in the end
it's
made him
just-
kill the emperor in the end, anyway.
Yeah.
Was the little bit he had left.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
so he still
That
has
would've been
his
so, I'm
humanity
just
was
thinking
there.
how good that would have been. He gets up and he's just like,
But
what is your wish?
I mean, that's a kind of a cliche, the whole movie where the hero like goes up to the sky, goes no, like that kind of thing. I do it for jokes sometimes when I, for people, when I
It
say
would have been a better
no,
finish.
like that kind of.
What do you think? Yeah.
What do I think about the
About the
the
prequels
prequels?
and that stuff.
I've never watched them.
Ah.
No.
But you've seen the original.
Yes.
trilogy,
Yeah.
But
Those are a place in my
yeah.
heart.
You should check it out, I think.
I do
This is
have
good stuff.
something that I loved, and I went and I watched it in the theater, but I've never heard anyone else talk about it ever. It was The Giver, with Jeff Bridges.
Right.
I'm guessing
I've
none
heard
of
of
you,
it.
none of
I
you
never
even
seen
saw a
it.
trailer.
No, I saw the trailer.
You saw a trailer?
I watch a lot of the YouTube
maybe
trailers
I've seen
that
the
pop
trailer.
up. I never saw it.
I've heard of it. What's it about?
It's about a kind of not futuristic world, but it's a world where they've chosen to chemically change your chemistry in order so that you don't feel emotions.
Okay.
And then there's one person in this whole village or world that still has the memories from before and still has the emotions. And in the beginning, it's black and white. And then as this one kid is about to take over for this older man who's Jeff Bridges, he starts to see color. Like he sees this apple and it's red, and he likes the apple because it's red. And he's like, "What is this? Why is it different?" And by the end, there's this long sequence when Jonas, who's the young man, is about to leave, and they take hands and they're like that. And yeah, there's like that, and he gives them all these memories, and it's like the Vietnam War. It's
All this horror.
when those college students in China stood in front of those tanks,
Tiananmen
and
Square,
yeah, and it's these Buddhist priests worshiping an idol, and it's all these colors, and it's all this beauty, and then it just ends with a sunset, and I was crying over there, and it goes back to the boy, and he's crying, and it pulled at my emotions in exactly the right way. There are many problems with the movie as a whole, but it left me feeling something in your heart. That's what I think is a worthy movie to have watched, is when you feel it and it stays with you for a long time. Like, I watched How to Train Your Dragon, the first one, and it stayed in my heart. And
I went home and just sat in my room and was like, it's over.
yeah.
Mom was like, you alright? I'm like,
There again, you gave a movie out that just basically like you liked, but everybody else may not saw.
I think it was underrated though too. It had Meryl Streep and it had Katie Holmes, Alex Skarsgård. There were
big actors.
there were parts of it where I always thought,
I remember the
like,
name
it
of the movie.
can't.
I didn't know exactly what it was about, but that sounds interesting to me. Is it on some
It
streaming
was on
somewhere?
Netflix. I don't
Streaming
know if it
somewhere
is
else?
anymore. I
I
haven't.
have to look it up. 'Cause
watched
actually,
it
that
all.
sounds interesting.
I will say, when you explain it to me, those kind of movies, I've just never are into the those like deep movies,
Right.
and I really wish I was, but I don't know.
That's all good.
But I love that they're made though,
Yeah.
but I
They're
just
there for you to look at when you're ready to look at.
exactly.
You know? Yeah.
But-
See The Deer Hunter. Don't see it now. Wait 10, 15
No, I think I'm
years.
gonna wait.
Watch it. Yeah.
It looked really sad though.
It is. It is
I was
sad.
like, what?
But just remember, Robert De Niro is pointing his head, just get out of the way when he's on the other side, just in case that happens.
But have you seen How to Train Your Dragon series?
No, I actually haven't. But
Because
I'm
for an
not
animation
seeing it.
movie,
Like,
it's the best DreamWorks has ever done.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
got that Pixar feel. I teared up at the end of the last one.
Mhm.
It is a good story.
Right.
Flawless. Definitely watch it.
yeah, I'm willing to watch it. I just hadn't had a chance to see it.
It's so beautifully well done.
Yeah, you'd think I'd seen it because I keep showing excerpts from it. And stuff,
Yeah.
But I have not seen it yet either. But it looks good. Yeah.
The D group, the animation guys, they all talk about how it's one of the best animated movies because the body language is so realistic.
Right.
They talk about how hard it was.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow.
That's
You remember that? The shoulders? How
Yeah.
hard that was.
Part 3's on Netflix right now. I think.
No,
No,
it
it
found
just
theaters.
It came out just last week.
Now they do have a animated show.
Yeah,
of
Dragon
it.
Yeah, it
Edge,
tells you
Race to
the
the
gap. Like you can watch my little cousin
Yeah.
Olivia,
I
who's
didn't
obsessed
never
with it. Like how I am with Mars. She's like dragons,
Yeah.
She'll just tell you everything about it.
The only reason why I know that
She
is that
watches
they took over the spot on Cartoon Network or something else I was
Right.
watching, so it was kind of like, okay, what is this? And there's like a Training Your Dragon, How You Train Your Dragon's show or whatever type thing. I'm like, okay.
Right.
And but I saw that, or I didn't watch it. I just saw that they had that on there. So you might have seen, if you did see something on Netflix, I think it is on Netflix. So if you saw something like that on
Okay.
it might have been
Yeah, I didn't
that.
stop. I just
It might
saw
have been.
that.
Yeah, you have to rent.
Right.
I had to rent them, the
Right.
first two.
Mhm.
But I would wait till they're all out and then just watch them all three.
Yeah.
I would
Sounds
do
good.
that.
Yeah.
Because then you get a full
They'll probably have-
experience out of it.
Yeah.
But do it. I'm telling
Oh,
you.
I will. I'll
Great.
Netflix cartoons. I'll definitely
The-
watch
I
it.
the
just
man-
like the way you
The dragon, man. It's all body language and you care for him.
I'm interested in animation. I've loved cartoons
Same.
ever since I was a kid,
Mhm.
and I still love cartoons.
I used to do terrible stop motion Legos.
Hey, that's great.
That was like the very first thing I ever did with film.
Right.
I was like, and then the reason I got into like live action, like people, was because I was like, well, I don't have to move them.
Y'all grew with better Legos than we did, or at least I did anyway, because
Oh,
we
for
had
real?
we had
Yeah.
just bricks
Yeah.
that we just
I had all the
made
Lego
little
Star
things.
Wars guys.
It's cool a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't even remember the people, but like I said, I was never a Lego person because of it was just
Yeah.
all it was bricks and you built.
Yeah.
And I'm not a builder, so I mean I just don't
mean-
don't it doesn't really get into me, but yeah, so that didn't really get into never had Legos as a kid, but now I know they got some great sets and doing all
Oh,
that
they're
stuff with
crazy
different
now.
all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff now, but.
Yeah, it's stuff a lot of adults get. Like Adam
Yeah.
Green's always getting in his show. He's always getting like the giant Uber Millennium Falcon or something with 1 million pieces to it and stuff. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
I like on Conan when it was employees. I swear that they didn't
Oh,
tell him,
they-
and he's all excited because he wants Harrison to sign the
Millennium
metal
Falcon.
Falcon Lego set. Very expensive, one of
Oh,
the most
yeah.
expensive. And Harrison
He
just drops
it.
it. And the guy
I
looks.
think that was a setup. I
That
think
maybe
that
was set up,
that
but the guy still he pulled it off because you're like he just looks
doesn't have-
shocked.
His
He just looks horrified.
One of his producers or whatever, he always is very stoic or whatever with his whole
Right.
thing. Every time he has him on there, and he always says Conan says that's exactly how he acts. Is that
Yeah.
there's nothing. It's not a play. It's not a bit they're doing or whatever type thing. He always acts like
That's
it's
how
very
it
stoic.
is.
But in that particular thing, I saw it where Harrison Ford just
Yes,
like dropped his thing, and that's the first like emotion I saw on his face ever. Really, kind of.
Yeah, and Harrison's like, he just goes, oh, sorry.
but,
That's great.
the bits they have with that his producer is really really funny because it's just weird because he acts just weird and all the other people think he should be fired because they don't know what he does.
He comes in late.
Yeah,
I watched them all, man. I watched them all.
Yeah, they're all on
It's so
YouTube.
funny.
They're always.
I have to check out. I like that.
Anyway,
Anything else about awards, festivals?
there's one thing a movie I do like, or forget about it. I don't like, and then everybody loves Independence Day.
Ah, yeah.
I can't stand that movie.
I liked
I don't know if y'all have seen it.
Yes,
Yeah.
I thought it was fun.
I
I
was
like Will
all
Smith.
about-
I don't like Will Smith. But anyway, but this is before
Dun, dun,
this is
dun.
before I really didn't like Will Smith. This is before I didn't like when I first saw it.
Will Smith's respect.
He's the same. He plays the same character in
Who
every
cares?
movie.
He
But
does it well every
anyway.
time.
Oh well, actually, if you've seen, oh shoot, what was it?
Pursuit of Happiness.
No.
I saw that one.
Um,
I cried.
That is good.
Collateral something.
Um,
With it's Keira Knightley and Helen Mirren, and
Oh,
he
yeah, yeah, yeah. I know the movie you're talking
experiences
about.
emotions in a
I
different
know the movie
way.
you're talking about. I haven't seen it, but
One of his
but
early
I know the
films, was it Manhattan? It was something like not Gosford Park. I think it was Manhattan. He played like a very not typical character. Like he played a gay dude in that. Like really early on in his career. Like totally.
I liked Will Smith in I Am Legend though. I mean,
Yeah.
his character's great, which they
First
shouldn't
20
have killed
minutes
him,
of
man.
that movie was
Yeah.
awesome.
I have one question that's kind of
Yeah.
off, but maybe someone can give me some knowledge.
Right.
How do you get on those shows like Conan? And do they invite you? Is it you have to do something?
Okay, here's
or-
the deal.
What's
Generally,
this
like
thing
if
on
you
that?
were an actor on a film that's out there, you
Mhm.
go on a junket tour or something like that. And I don't know if junket's really the right thing, but
Mhm.
it's part of your deal. You have to go out and do all that stuff.
Okay.
So it's definitely the business engine around it.
promoting it.
And they want people on their shows who are whatever's happening now. Who's in something
That's the
currently.
thing.
Gotcha.
At one time, the old talk shows they used to have it to where they could have somebody, whoever on their show, if it was a friend of the whoever is hosting or whoever
Sure.
does the talk show, whoever's hosting
Yeah.
the talk show,
Sure.
if it was a old friend of theirs, they would be on there.
How
or
come they
whatever.
never-
Yeah.
How come they never get directors on there?
They do.
Really?
They do.
It's
plenty.
rare though. I mean, I've seen some, but like,
Tyler Perry was just on Jimmy Fallon.
Oh, really? Okay.
He was on Corden
I'm
too.
talking
I know.
like Dan Harmon now.
But
Watch Dan Harmon?
but,
Oh my gosh.
but he wasn't on there for as a director. He was on there to promote Vice.
Well, he was on there to promote his the last Medea movie.
Really? Well, that must have been a
The
while. back.
last one
'Cause
ever.
Well, he's about to do his last one ever.
He
Like,
was-
he's going to
yeah.
retire the character.
I gotta pitch him
He
in my
was,
character.
he was on Corden to promote Vice or whatever, like
Pitch
not
it,
too
yeah.
long ago.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
he's
On
in
it.
Vice as
Imagine Medea fighting him.
Okay, I'm sorry.
He's so funny.
I don't
He
have
played-
a lifeline.
He played the General Colin Powell,
Right.
but
That's
but
right.
in Vice.
When did they? Have they already filmed the last Medea movie? Or are they going to?
They have. It's about a funeral or something like that. It's already been
Shit.
filmed.
My assistant principal at the high school, his
He's
sister
retiring to get it.
works on his film.
Uh-huh.
She's like really good friends with him.
Yeah.
And I've been meaning. I was like, can I get his email so I can pitch him? Imagine Medea, right?
Right.
Fighting my Steve character.
Right.
How hilarious would that be? This little
Would she be beating him with a
Yeah,
purse,
he's like- you know, he's like
know?
a spider monkey, you know, and she's just big throwing him, you know.
Right. Yeah.
And Tyler
Just
Perry's,
throw him out the window.
you know, he's big on small like young guys, you know, that are
Right.
like new in the industry, so I figured I'd do that. But
Tyler
man,
Perry, I like him more for the empire he built. Like he came, I don't know where he came from or what got his start. Not much of
When he was on Corden, they showed in front of the studio his building he built for his studio, whatever, and it showed he said because they were showing the reason why they're showing this because he had a car. It wasn't the same car, but it was like the car when he was at his lowest point and living in his car.
Right.
He shared the car that the kind of car he bought it from somewhere or whatever type thing, and showed it in the parking lot so you could see where he came from or where he's now.
Right.
So that's what it was kind of a
where did he
message to
start
himself.
though in the film?
He was.
I think he was wanting to make them, but he just was trying to figure out
But he
how to
was so
break in.
and he was so poor. He lived in his car, and it's a small car, and this guy's a big guy.
Yeah.
But it's this very small. I don't remember what kind of car it was, but it was a really small car. And that's why he said he just wanted to show where he started from and where he ended and where he is now.
I'm curious. I like looking at careers and seeing what led to what. You know, kind of like what we just watched with the thing about Laszlo and Vilmos. You know, it's interesting. It packs a lot more depth and emotion into their work. You know, it's interesting.
They're all different.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Completely unique.
All right. Anybody got anything else? Pretty good show.
That's good.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us, and we're gonna skip a week, and then we'll be back with episode 8. No idea what it's gonna be about, but it'll be about everything filmmaking. Take it easy.